Halliburton's got the ball. Halliburton rises up. And there's a whistle. Oh, my goodness. Tyrese Halliburton hits a three and is fouled.
You have got to be kidding me.
McConnell underneath the basket. Looking. Toppin in the corner for three.
Oh, yeah! Yeah! OB!
Pacers have it, a chance to tie.
Yeah, Nembhard
Hits the three. Nembhard gives Indiana the lead.
Hello, Pacer fans, and welcome back to the Pacers Fever Show, your home for all things blue and gold. And today, oh man, Pacers Nation, we are fired up off of that win Tuesday night. Your Indiana Pacers storm into Cleveland, take care of business, knocking off the Cavaliers in Game 5, punching their ticket to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's right, the Pacers are moving on to their second straight appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals. In back-to-back years, we are going to be playing a team with a chance to head into the NBA Finals. We will talk about Game 5, the breakdown, the highlights, and what it means for the road ahead. We'll talk about New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, because those are the two that could have a chance to play these Pacers. So sit back and relax. And let's talk some Pacers basketball. Number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers versus the number 4 seed Indiana Pacers. That series ends 4-1. Cleveland only getting a game in Game 3 when they won 126-104. But the Pacers answer with a resounding knockout punch in Game 4 and 5. And they are moving on once again, eliminating one of the best teams in the league and the best team in the Eastern Conference. Dig a little deeper into this Pacers season. We start the season 5-10. There's a point where we're 10-15. The Pacers go on this historic march through the calendar year where they go 34-14 since January 1st, come into the playoffs and have eliminated the Bucks and the Cavaliers in 5 games in both series. And the Pacers just look like the better team, the team that has been here before, that has the experience, that has the continuity and the chemistry needed to perform in these NBA playoffs and advance deeper and deeper as we go. We're almost at the end of May, and we are just 8 wins away, folks, from an NBA championship. I never thought I'd say that about the Indiana Pacers with this much confidence. I've never felt more confident in an Indiana Pacers team, and that dates back to my time watching, obviously, the Paul George era, the Victor Oladipo era. Even if you go back to the later part of Reggie Miller, where he actually made an NBA Finals game, I was 7 at that point in the year 2000 when he played Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Didn't really feel confident in that series. We had the Malice in the Palace team that I've gone through. We've had to witness Paul George's injury, Victor Oladipo's injury, the crashing out of a lot of different teams that were very good that made those runs. TJ Warren, the bubble. I mean, it just, everything is just, it's hard to speak at this point because I've never in my Pacers rooting career, I guess is what you could call it, I've never felt this way about a team where I felt like they had a legitimate chance to win a championship. Paul George was probably in that team with David West, Roy Hibbert, Grant Hill, George Hill, and Lance Stevenson. I feel like that team I had confidence in, but LeBron was always waiting, right? And we've never run into we've always run into somebody at some point, whether it be Mike or the Knicks teams with Patrick in them, or Kobe and Shaq, LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, LeBron and Cleveland. Like it's always ended. The road has always ended with some superstar and probably arguably the best player in the league at that point. So the Pacers have just been, you could call it unlucky, but you could call it to the fact where the Pacers just haven't been able to compete with these teams that have had these super teams because we've always had to do it in a sum of our parts, not a superstar with a bunch of players that were really, really good subpar players, role players, or even stars at that point. The Pacers have had stars, superstars. I guess Paul George you could throw into that. But right now, it feels like we have a superstar. It feels like the first time that in a long time that when Tyrese Halliburton steps on a floor, he is one of the players that you could say is going to change the way that that game is played. He does things on the floor that are just so vital to a team making deep playoff runs. He's healthy. I think that's something that a lot of people didn't talk about last year as much, or even why we got eliminated last year. And I would even say to the haters out there that say all the Pacers do is beat hurt teams, you also have to look at the fact last year that we were playing with a Tyrese Halliburton that was also hampering a hamstring issue. And when you're playing on a bad hamstring, or a hamstring that is not completely 100%, and the back issues that Tyrese Halliburton has had, I'm not sure that you could say that he wasn't playing hurt as well. And I know a lot of players are playing hurt during the postseason because of the grind of the season. But you got to look at that. I think you've got to have that conversation that if Tyrese Halliburton is healthy during that Eastern Conference Finals series, that the Pacers might have won 2 or 3 games. I really do feel that way. Controlled all those games, really. I mean, we were never out of those Boston games that we got swept in. In fact, games 1, 3, and 4, I felt really like the Pacers had a chance to end it, that game, and with a win, but blew leads and just never recovered. So we will talk about the Eastern Conference Finals coming up, but I want to dive deeper into and preview what's going on coming up. But I did want to talk about that Game 5, just because this was something that I talked about in the Game 5 preview when we did that video, when we did that podcast. This is what I wanted to see from the Pacers. I wanted to see when they had a chance to close out a really good team in the Cleveland Cavaliers, just like they did in Game 7 in the Madison Square Garden. Crowd was going, absolutely bananas for at least a couple of minutes until the Pacers stomped on them. I wanted to see what these Pacers were made of, and to see if they could close out a series in a hostile environment and not allow Cleveland to have any life. And that's what the Pacers did. There was a moment in like the third to fourth quarter where Cleveland at least tried to fight back, one last hurrah, and the Pacers came back and answered that punch, and then they went on to win the game. Like I said, Cleveland and the Pacers were two of the hottest teams since January 1st. January 1st through game 82, the Cavs went 35-15. The Pacers were 34-15. These teams were neck and neck. A lot of people will say that the Cavs kind of coasted the last month or so, which I somewhat agree with, somewhat disagree with, in the fact that should they have gotten to the finals, they were still wanting that number 1 spot over the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Thunder and Cavs were pretty neck and neck about a month or a month and a half ago, or a month before the season ended. The Cavs still had a chance for home court advantage throughout the whole NBA playoffs. It wasn't until a couple of weeks before the season ended where the Cavs really felt like they were out of it and started to coast even more. But these Pacers, I mean, you cannot write them off at any point. And we learned this again in Game 5. The Pacers had gotten spanked in the first quarter. I mean, absolutely knocked around. 31-19. Cleveland started to spill into the second quarter with their hot start. They go up 19, 44-25. And I'm watching this game, right? In the first quarter, I really did feel like, okay, well, we had our opportunities once again early. We didn't hit our shots. Kind of like Game 2. We had our opportunities early. We didn't stay hot, didn't stay consistent enough. And then we dig ourselves a huge hole in the first quarter once again. And I feel like this has been an issue for this team when they've struggled, is getting slow starts. Now, I will say they haven't really struggled as of late. I mean, when I say struggle as of late, I mean losing games. Like these games where they've started slow, they come back and answer, and they answer in a big way. And they've done it against the Bucks. They've done it against the Cavs a couple times. These Pacers just aren't ever out of the game. A 20-point lead in today's NBA is oftentimes feels like an 8 to 10-point lead. Games change so quickly. And for the Pacers, a 20-point deficit, it's starting to feel like that's not too out of reach because of how quickly this team can score and how good defensively they can be, which is something we'll talk about as we get into this game and as we move forward too, because this Pacers defense, I mean, we talked about this being a problem heading into the postseason as far as like what they did last year. But since January 1st, this Pacers team has been one of the best NBA defenses it's been one of the best NBA defenses. They are a really good defensive team now, and I don't think I would have ever said that about the Pacers. Like, it's hard for me to sit here and say they're just average now because of how much the defense changed this game and games prior and have taken Cleveland completely out of games because Cleveland was awful from the 3-point line. And they were one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the NBA this season. They were one of the best offenses in the NBA over the last like 50 years. This Cleveland team was so good offensively. They were very good defensively. They were a historic team. They had 3 stretches of 10 plus wins streaks. Like this Cleveland team, again, I thought the Pacers were really going to have their hands full. And while I still believe they were going to win the series, and I'd predicted them in 6, the Pacers, I still felt like this was a different kind of challenge just because if Garland was healthy, like 100%, then, I think this series is a 6 to 7 game series, but he wasn't. And the rest of the players on Cleveland just didn't show up. I mean, Evan Mobley had the injury, but it didn't really impact him too much. I mean, he had to sit out game 2, but then he comes back in game 3. He's ultimately fine. Like I didn't notice much of a difference, except for the fact that he just wasn't as involved. And then Cleveland win game 3 and handedly. Like they blew out the Pacers. And, that's when the Cleveland fans were like, oh, see what happens when the Cavs are, back at full strength and have all their guys. Even though Darius Garland was not at full strength the whole series, they still kept arguing that game 3 looked like the turning point where the Cavs could get back into this. And I thought that they could. I mean, I was nervous about game 4. I really was, because Cavs win there, and then it's a whole new ball game again. And the Cavs then have 2 games to win at home, and then 3 games in total. It's a best 3 series at that point, pretty much. So Pacers, I felt confident in, but this Cavs team, we kept saying this all series, they are one of the best teams that we've seen historically in the NBA, and completely fizzled. And the lack of health on this squad, and I think it's a conversation that a lot of Cavs podcast and fans are having, a lot of the national media has had, is where do the Cavs go from here? Because Donovan Mitchell has not been healthy in the last 2 postseasons. Darius Garland has a hard time staying healthy. Evan Mobley was really good in this game, and I think that's the one bright spot you can take if you're a Cleveland fan, is that Evan Mobley looks like the real deal. So he and Donovan Mitchell, I think, are just mainstays for this Cleveland team moving forward. But I think everybody else is, you could debate them, or argue that they'll be gone. I mean, Max Strus, my favorite storyline of the postseason so far is the Max Strus tweet or text that he sent to the group chat in Cleveland, and then he told Greenberg, the sideline reporter for NBA TV, he told him what he had said, and he basically in the group chat to all the other Cleveland players, he said, if you don't believe, don't show up for work. And then he goes like 0 for 9 from the field, like 0 for 6 from 3, had 0 points, just a complete non-factor, got into foul trouble, couldn't defend Halliburton. Like it was probably the worst response you could ever, or not a response. It's the worst performance you could have after sending something of that tone to your teammates, and then you don't show up. I mean, you did show up, but you didn't show up. So, again, Ty Jerome and then Strus, 2 of the best Pacers players in this series, I think. I mean, just they never really got it going. I mean, Strus had a couple of games there, but I was a little bit more worried about him, honestly, than Ty Jerome. But Ty Jerome had done that consistently throughout the season, and then he barely plays in game 5. And then all of a sudden they get down and desperate, and then he comes in, and you could tell he was just not happy about not being able to play in this game. Hits a couple threes, gets them back into it, actually got them all the way back against this Pacer team, because the Pacers go up by like 12, and then the Cavs start to storm back. But I mean, Ty Jerome and Max Strus just not really that great in this series. So yeah, Pacers, again, were down by 19. They get all the way back to a 4-point deficit after Tyrese Halliburton goes for 15 points in the second quarter. hitting 5 threes. I mean, it got to a point where he was just shooting them from wherever and they were going in. Like, he hit a logo three, hit one from way outside on the right-hand side. He hit a couple of just at ones that, and I think every single one were nothing but net. Like, I mean, I'm talking to the point where you could hear it on the mic. Like, it was that just right through the center. And Tyrese just, again, twice now against the Knicks, game 7 last year, and now game 5, explodes in closeout games. Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, those people that were saying he was overrated, those people that had been talking about Tyrese and the way that they had that he is overrated, and the players that voted for that poll, um, probably feel pretty stupid right about now, because Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar in the making. He is that special. And I think if you don't, and I've said this time and time again on this podcast, and if people are listening that are outside of the Pacer circle, you might get it. You might not. You might still argue with me right now. But if you don't understand what Tyrese Halliburton means to this Pacer team, then I don't think you understand just how good he is, because this Pacer team is special. And you'll hear national media go, man, this Pacer team's special. You'll hear even some of these podcasts now, these Bucks podcasts, Cavs podcasts, Western Conference podcasts that I've listened to. They'll be like, man, this team is special. Well, you want to know why they're special? You want to know why this team has a chance to win the NBA Finals? It's because Tyrese Halliburton is that good. He will get you about 30 points, wide open shots, and 30 points in the. Sorry, if you were on the video, you got to see my cat basically destroy whatever was back there on that desk. But like I was saying, you got to see Tyrese Halliburton expose everything that is wrong with the Bucks and the Cavs and the Knicks. I mean, he's done it for 2 years now. People continue to doubt him. He had a historic run through that in-season tournament last year. He hurts the hamstring. He has a horrible start to this year because of all the stuff that was going on with the Olympics. Doesn't play in the Olympics at all. He and Tatum are DNPs every single game, not 1 minute in competition that mattered. I think it got into his head. 10-15 start. He was just not good in that first part of the season. Wouldn't say he was awful, but he was just not Tyrese Halliburton. Like, he was not this guy. Like, this version of Tyrese Halliburton is the version that we're gonna get from here on out. And I think it bothers people because I don't think they understand why he's so good, because you could look at his stat line sometimes and it's like 19-12 or 14-12 or 14-8 or 14-7. But if you look at his ability to create open shots, and this is what I was saying before my cat decided to destroy this room. If you look at his ability to create open shots, and Caitlin Cooper, who does a wonderful job of breaking down what the Pacers do schematically, offensively, and defensively. So if you've never seen her show for any reason, I'm sure that all of you have. If you are listening to this podcast, you've heard of Caitlin Cooper. She is so good. I mean, she should be on the Pacers staff at this point. She called what the Pacers had to do in that game 4 win, where Evan Mobley was the top of that 3-2 zone. Like, she was talking about picking both sides, like swinging the ball to the opposite side, putting pressure and putting an overloading sides, and then getting Pascal Siakam in the post. Her understanding of the game is tremendous. But anyway, I was saying this because if you look at what Tyrese Halliburton can do, Caitlin Clark, I do this all the time. I call her Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Cooper, she breaks down all these games and shows you how effective Tyrese Halliburton is when he can get into the paint and become the distributor, but also these like secondary assists that you would have kind of like in hockey. He sets up so many open shots, not even off of his assist, but the movement where he's passed the ball to somebody off a pick and roll, or swung the ball over, or made an incredible pass across court. And then that has set up a breakdown in the defense. And then they score from there, where he's not getting the assist, but he should get credit for exactly what he's done to absolutely destroy defenses. I mean, he is, and I saw a great stat. You know what? I'm going to try to see if I can find this on X, because it was so fascinating. Because Well, let me do this for you. I mean, you probably know where this is headed because of what I'm doing right now. But if I said the name Steve Nash, uh, what would you say about his game? Like postseason, regular season. If you look at Steve Nash, what do you think about him? Like if I said, what are your thoughts about Steve? Was he a good player? Was he good in the postseason? What would you say? Because if you look at Steve Nash and Tyrese Halliburton, and let's talk regular season because I did see a stat where it was postseason games, but let's talk about regular season first. So in 308 games, Nash he averaged 16.9 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 10.6 assists per game, 0.8 steals, 0.1 blocks, and he's not blocking anybody. 50% from the field, 43% from 3-point range, 90% from the free throw line. His effective field goal percentage, or his expected, field goal percentage, 57.3, or sorry, 57%. Tyrese Halliburton, he wins the advantage over Nash in points per game at 18. Nash had 16. Total rebounds, 3.8 to Tyrese. Advantage Tyrese. Nash had 3.5. Assist, 9.6 assists per game for Tyrese Halliburton, 10.6 assists for Nash. And this was as of April 30th, so right at the end of the season. Field goal percentage, 47.8% for Tyrese, 50.5 for Nash. Advantage Nash. 38.9% from 3, 43 for Nash. So Tyrese loses that one. Free throw percentage, 85.5% for Tyrese, 90% for Steve Nash. That expected field goal percentage, 57.5%, 57.3% for Nash. So Tyrese is your modern day Steve Nash. There you go. It's a fun stat because, and he's actually better than him. I couldn't find it right away. Tyrese has had a better postseason already, like career already, than Steve Nash has. And Steve Nash has played more. So, I mean, you look at all these comparisons, right? The reason why I did that was you just look at all these comparisons and you can name players. Chris Paul, Steve Nash, like Tony Parker, great point guards. Great point guards. And John Stockton. And you can throw Tyrese Halliburton in those and his numbers are better. So I don't want to hear the Halliburton's overrated. He's not that good. He just beats up on bad teams. Just go look at your favorite point guard. Go look at your franchise's best point guard in the history of their franchise. And Tyrese Halliburton's probably better. I would say 95% better than most of those point guards. And that's crazy because one, he's 25. Two, he's only played in 2 postseasons. But I mean, you start to look at his resume, right? 10 of 11 in clutch time shots. He's hit 10 of 11 this season when he's hit the game tying or go ahead shot with 2 minutes left. He's shooting like 92% in those situations. He's missed one shot in those situations where he's had a chance to tie it or go ahead with last 2 minutes left in the game. So I'm preaching to the choir here for Pacer fans. But if somebody stumbles across this that's not a Pacers fan, maybe they're a Cavs fan, hate watching this, or Bucks fans. But I will say there are some Bucks fans, and they're the ones that are going to be the hardest to please because of where Tyrese is from, but also what he's done to the Bucks. And Bucks fans do not like the Pacers. But I even have some Bucks fans on my timeline, even giving their roses to Tyrese Halliburton because of how good he's been. And this game 5 was, I think, and I keep saying this every time that Tyrese keeps having these games. I mean, the more we go into Tyrese's career, the more I keep saying this is, and I keep changing it each time. This is the best game I've ever seen Tyrese Halliburton play. The Pacers were down 19 in the second quarter. I mean, they were on the verge. Like, they were very much on the verge. Had he not started doing what he did in the second quarter, the Pacers probably are playing game 6 tonight. So, again, I don't like when people don't understand his value and they talk about, because not only is he a really good player, but he's a great human. I mean, he is such a nice person, such a kind person who has fun, and people hate him for having fun. Like, hate him because he has fun. Like, what it must feel like to hate somebody who is such a good person, good basketball player with good spirit and good intentions. And you just, I don't understand. I will never get it. But, there's always somebody to try to hate. And he keeps proving people wrong. And he keeps destroying your team. I think that's the best part too, is I keep seeing all these TikToks and stuff like that where these Cavs fans are talking, or, Knicks fans or Bucks fans, and they just keep jabbing at him. And it's just like, you're just mad because he's beating your team. Because this is now 2 Eastern Conference Finals. And the Pacers don't get here without Tyrese Halliburton. In fact, they're not even that great of a team without Tyrese Halliburton. Because when he's not been good and when he's been hurt, this team has struggled. And we saw that this season. He is the engine. He is the puppet master. He had 31 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 block, and just 4 turnovers, which is actually more than typical. I mean, he went on stretches. I think he had a 5-game stretch where he didn't have a turnover. He's doing things at such a historic, and I read that. If you go back to, I think it was the last podcast I did, or maybe before that, I read out Tyler Smith. He did a great job of laying out all the accomplishments and records that Tyrese has had. And I'm talking like every possible legendary point guard you can think of, he's had some kind of history where he's beaten that point guard. So again, we can keep talking about Tyrese and how good he is and yell it from the mountaintops, but people will not believe it. They don't want to believe it because they've got some weird vendetta against Tyrese. But I think it's because Tyrese has knocked out their favorite team. So I guess I'd be mad too. Like, I didn't like LeBron when LeBron was knocking the Pacers out all the time. I really didn't like Dwayne Wade at all. And I've got nothing against him now. I like LeBron now, but I did not like him when he was beating up on my Pacers. That was not fun. So, game 5. Again, like I said, second half, they get it down to a 4-point deficit at halftime. And the momentum that the Pacers had, like, they had a chance to go ahead by the end of the half, but they just didn't hit a couple shots to let the Cavs get a couple of shots in. But the Pacers going into the halftime, I felt like, and even announcers said this in the halftime show. I think Charles even said it, like, this game's over. You can just feel it. The Cavs are out of gas. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, basically, it got to a point where, like, he could barely even run. He and Darius Garland could barely run. Strus was unplayable. Ty Jerome finally showed up. The only person that had a good game in game 5, I felt, was Evan Mobley. Like, Donovan Mitchell was awful from the field. He just got lucky because he had about 86 free throws. The Cavaliers shot 38.9% for the game and were a woeful 9 of 35 from 3, which was a 25.7% shooting percentage. Mitchell and Darius Garland were combined 12 of 41 from the field. That's 29.3%, including 4 of 19 from the 3-point line. That's 21.1%. And in this game, you could see, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Game 7 against the Knicks, except at least the Cavs had some fight at the end, where the Pacers just absolutely blew out the Knicks in Game 7 last year. Both on the road, by the way. So Ty's doing this on the road, scoring 30-plus points to eliminate teams. But you could tell by I would even say in the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, that Darius Garland could barely run. Donovan Mitchell was like struggling to get up the field, up the court. And it just, I mean, the wheels just started to come off. You could tell they didn't have any answers. Then the Pacers late um, go on this run. Just before the third quarter, the Pacers go on a 17-2 run to go up 85-76, heading into the final frame. And then you fast forward right around the 2-minute mark, it becomes a game again. Cavs we're within 6. Donovan Mitchell gets fouled on a 3-pointer. Aaron Nesmith, which that is one thing I will say. Like, well, you know what? We're going to get to takeaways. So I'm going to hold that off. But Nesmith fouls Donovan Mitchell. It's 106, 10, or it's 106, 100. Mitchell's at the line. Three free throws. He fouls him behind the 3-point line. He goes to the line. 3 free throws, and he misses every single one. And you could tell it was there was some point to it where it was like you could tell it was somewhat mental. And I don't know if he always does this at the free throw line, but like he takes a long time. And I forget who says it. I think it's Legler or somebody. They said you can always tell a free throw shooter that's not confident in his ability to shoot free throws if they have a hitch in their free throw. And he kind of has this pause like Giannis does. And I get like taking a breath and then gaining your composure and then shooting your shot. But there's a point in like Donovan Mitchell's like release point where he like kind of stops a little bit and then shoots it. And it's not like real fluid. I mean, it's an okay looking shot, but it's not like completely fluid. And that's usually a player that isn't as and he's a good free throw shooter. So I don't really know if that's common, but like it seems like the pressure does kind of wane on him some. Because in every other aspect, he's ice. But like for some reason, late in the game, I mean, he missed some good free throws in this series, like at least 4 or 5, and he gets the line a ton. I mean, he missed 5 or 6, 4 or 5. Like he misses some free throws. I mean, if you shoot that many, you're going to miss that many probably. But yeah, he misses 3 straight, and then the Pacers don't score on the other end. He gets it back and hits a 3 in the corner, and he makes it 106-103 with 127 remaining. But then the Pacers close it out by scoring 8 of the final 10 points. They got an 8-2 run. And Miles Turner, Andrew Nembhard. Miles Turner gets an offensive rebound. Andrew Nembhard gets a 3. I think Pascal hit a 3. And then Miles hit a 3 in those last couple of minutes. And Miles was the dagger. Miles 3. It was awesome. I mean, it was a full coming together moment for Miles. He's been there 10 years, thick and thin, with the worst teams, with a tanking team, with a team that gets in the lottery. You know, he's a guy that's always been rumored in trades. And then he hits this 3 that just eliminates and wipes away any hope the Cavs had with like 20 some seconds left. And that was it. The dagger. And he takes his jersey and he grabs the Indiana part and he's tugging it away as quick as he can. He's fired up, running towards the bench. It was the coolest moment I think I've had for Miles. Like, mark it down. Every time he does stuff, it's just like, man, give that man his money. Make him a Pacer for life. Do not let him go anywhere. It would be really hard to watch Miles in another jersey. Like, I think more so than anybody else that's put on a Pacer uniform except for Reggie. He is a really difficult, like it'd be very difficult to watch him play for someone else. Pacers continue to make come from behind victories signature in this postseason as Indiana has trailed by 19.5 of game 5, but won its 3rd game of the playoffs after trailing by 19 or more. They are the first team in NBA history to do so. Indiana is also the first team since seeding began in 1984 to reach the conference finals in consecutive years as a 4 seed or lower. The Pacers reached around last year Eastern Conference Finals as the 6th seed. This year, they'll reach it as the 4th seed. So a very special team. And we keep talking about this, and Pacer Twitter keeps talking about how special they are. It's not been that way through my whole Pacer watching career in fandom. They've always been the underdog. They've always been the team that never gets talked about. Even in the Eastern Conference Finals, it was always about LeBron and Dwayne Wade, and maybe the Pacers could get them to 7. Even in the finals, it was always Kobe and Shaq. It was never Reggie and the gang. Oladipo, like, he had no shot. It is the first time that I can remember where and we'll see what happens when the Knicks or Boston advance, and I'm sure that ESPN writers will go clean sweep on the Pacers, like Knicks in 6 or Knicks in 7 or Boston in 6 or like maybe not. If Boston won the series, maybe you get more writers predicting the Pacers because of Jason Tatum's injury. But even then, I'd still expect not a lot of Pacer picks to go to the NBA Finals. If the Knicks advance, I still don't think anybody will choose the Pacers. Maybe. Because there is a lot of, but it is the first time that I've heard media actually say that the Eastern Conference Finals is a 50-50 chance for the Pacers and whoever advances. Like, it's the first time I've ever heard like Legler and them say it. And Legler's always been really high on the Pacers too. Like, Legler, I think, from what I can remember, ever since the Pacers have been, relevant, or any season that the Pacers have been relevant in, he's always been a big Pacers guy. So he'll talk about them. But I always feel like the national media is always going to side with the Knicks, especially the Knicks. I mean, what's good, I will say what's good is that the Eastern Conference Finals this year is and the Pacers don't have to play the Knicks in this, and they didn't have to play them in this conference semifinals. Is that they got to stay away from the Mike Breen, Doris Burke, Stephen A. Smith, ESPN gang, because they are all Knicks people. They all work for the Knicks in some capacity, or like special guests of the Knicks. Like, they're all sitting courtside or on the broadcast. All these writers or personalities on TV, they're all Knicks fans. And they all work in that studio in Brooklyn. What I was saying is, like, the Eastern Conference Finals this year is all TNT. So that's good, because I'm pretty sure it's Kevin Harlan and Reggie, which will be fun, because Reggie getting to go to the Garden and then go to the Gamebridge. I almost called it Banker's Life again. Gosh, that thing's been 3 different: Conseco, Bankers, Gamebridge. I'm kind of digging the Gamebridge for some reason. The bridge, baby. But anyway, yeah, Reggie and Kevin Harlan, I believe, are the A crew. So I think it will be Reggie going into Madison Square Garden, but also returning home to Indy. So that'll be fun. And then I think they add in another person, I think, in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think there's 3 people on the broadcast. I think it's like, is it Grant Hill or Chris Webber? Somebody like that. Anyway. Yeah, the Pacers took care of business, beat the number 1 seed. And, there's always going to be excuses about, what the Cavs didn't have, or the Cavs weren't healthy. But you can only play the team in front of you. And the Pacers, if things go right, are going to get their chance to finally say, we're playing a team that doesn't have injury problems. At least ones that are reported. And who knows if the Knicks started losing that series, or Boston. Well, Boston does have injury now. But if the Knicks start losing that series, it'll be like, oh, well, Josh Hart has a fractured eyebrow because he got hit in the eye last night. But yeah, no, I feel like they're always trying to give excuses to these teams. But the Cavs, you just could tell by the time it got to Game 5, the Pacers had exhausted them. They don't have a secondary ball handler that was very good at all. So that eliminated any chance for Donovan Mitchell to really have a break. Because when Darius Garland was in Game 5, he at least gave him a break for a little bit, but you could just tell that foot as the game went on, just kept bothering Darius Garland. And by the end of it, Garland couldn't even get it up the floor. But this is what the Pacers do. They are a fast-paced, high-octane, intense, guard you 94 feet, in your face kind of team. And the Cavs did not handle it well. And I don't think the way that they're currently constructed, even if they were healthy, they wouldn't have handled that well. Their bench was, non-existent. DeAndre Hunter was okay in some of these games, but for the most part, he was just not very good. Ty Jerome was awful. He was the Pacers' best player. Pacers MVP, Ty Jerome. Isaac Okoro is a good defender, but that's all you're really going to get from him. He doesn't really impact the game. So their depth that we were concerned about, depth ended up being a big issue for them. Sam Merrill was hurt, but he's not really anything. So they really, really struggled in this series. Pacers scored 117.6 in this series. That was their average. Cavs 114.2. Pacers rebounds 41.6. Cavs 45.8. That is not a huge deficit. Like, that's not, the Pacers would want a little bit, maybe two separating. But like 4, I expected the Cavs to like really crash the Pacers on the boards and crush them in that number. But that's actually pretty decent against a team that is a good rebounding team, like a really good rebounding team. And then assists. This is this is where the Pacers. This is crazy. This stat is nuts. They average 29.4 assists per game. And when the Pacers do like that 30, like I think it said when the Pacers have 30 plus team assists, they haven't lost but like one game. I think they lost one game when they've had over, like it's an insane stat. So and here's the difference: the diff, baby, and that's what I have on the rundown on the YouTube channel. If you're not watching on YouTube, I actually have a rundown, and it says the next point was the diff. So you want to know the diff? The diff was 9 assists per game. The Cavs only had 20.6. You know what the Cavs turned into? The Cavs turned into a lot of hero ball, which wasn't really their forte during the season. I get that you had some injuries, but still, like Donovan Mitchell had to start to turn into like this ISO guard, and they didn't move the ball at all, and they weren't really getting open threes, or really they were getting a lot of contested 3-point shots. It's because the Pacers defense was so good, and they just had 10 guys that they just kept throwing at them. I think that's what the Knicks will struggle with too. The Knicks' depth is atrocious. It's worse than the Cavs. The Knicks' depth is worse than the Cavaliers. McBride is the only player on that bench that has any kind of ability to threaten the Pacers. Like, that's how bad that Knicks bench is. So the Pacers, if they continue to play at their pace and do what they do best, I don't think there's a team left that can hang with them. I really don't. Not in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, you can make arguments where Minnesota's a good defensive team, and so is OKC. OKC's got great depth. I think an OKC and NBA Finals game series against the Pacers would probably be ideal for the league, because I still believe that the Pacers, if they get up against Minnesota, those are two clashing styles where I feel like OKC and Indiana play a pretty similar game. They're not as fast as the Pacers, like as far as like the pace they want to play, but like they're close because Shea is really quick and gets the ball up and down the floor, and they move that ball up and down the floor very quickly. But it's not like, there's a lot of times where they go half court sets, OKC. But the Pacers try to get a shot off in the first 8 seconds of the shot clock. That's not really OKC's thing. OKC moves the ball after Shea, destroys the defense by getting into the paint. But still, I think that game could be, those games would be so, I think they'd be really high scoring. I think they'd be like 128 to 127 and stuff like that. Like, I feel like the Pacers and OKC would be a blast in the finals, because the amount of pace that they have. But I think that's pretty much it as far as the Cavs are concerned. I don't really have anything else to say about the Cavs. The Cavs were absolutely defeated. Donovan Mitchell didn't sleep. They had their exit interviews and he'd watched the games twice. I mean, the Pacers just do things to you mentally that you don't really recover. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's never made it past the second round of the NBA playoffs. And I feel bad for him. I mean, what a guy. I mean, what a nice, humble, I mean, what an incredible human being. Listening to him talk, I mean, I'm just like, man, if the Pacers had room for him, he'd be a great Pacer. But I love my team. I don't want anybody to leave, like anybody. So just listening to Donovan Mitchell talk, I mean, any team's lucky to have him. He's going to be a beast in Cleveland. They need to retool. Like, I think you got to make a choice. I think Jared Allen or Garland are going to have to be moved for another player that's better. Like Garland's a very good player. He's an all-star point guard, but I don't know. He's a liability defensively. He can't defend anyone. And then Max Strus is not. I don't think he's really a starting guard / forward. I guess he's a forward, but he's not really. I don't think he's a star. Like he had a good season, but I'm not sure he's it. So the Cavs have a lot of improvement they can make. Jared Allen, I think you could. I just don't know if Jared Allen and Mobley can play together in a playoff series. I think in the season they're fine because it's a drastically different. It's not that intense. But I really do. I think their rotation of Jared Allen and Mobley just don't work very well together, especially in the playoffs, because they keep running into teams that are just great offensive teams, and they just don't guard the perimeter very well when those two are out there. I don't know. I'm not convinced that they're a very good team. I think next year you kind of see them regress a little bit to the mean. I think they had a spectacular year behind a spectacular head coach. But I'm just not convinced that that's sustainable, what they have there. So that's it for the Cavs. Pacers in the postseason. I want to talk about the Pacers stats in the postseason. Their defense has been really good. I mean, the 114 points a game for the Cavs kind of says different, but it's because they had that 129 performance in game 3 that really helped. But I really have felt like the Pacers defense and their physicality and their ability to buckle down when it matters most. The Pacers are so hard to get around. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had those numbers because Andrew Nembhard makes it a really difficult, a really difficult time to score. And Nembhard and Neesmith, I mean, just 94 feet guarding both of them, Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell couldn't hit a 3 to save his life in this series. Nembhard kept him at bay. The only reason why he scored as much as he did in these games was because he got the free throw line. I mean, they gave him so many foul shots. There was a lot of them that were very questionable. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good series defensively. I mean, this is the first time where I felt like the Pacers defense was a huge factor in the abilities, or I guess the non-ability that the Cavs had. The Pacers you need a top 10 defense and you need a top 10 offense to win and contend for a title in this league. And the Pacers have that now. And I would argue they're a top 5 offense, especially in the postseason. They are a top offense, probably 2 or 3, I think they were. But they're now a top defense too. I'm excited for the challenge that would be the Knicks, because I think Karl Anthony Towns has always kind of been a thorn in the Pacers side. Like I feel like he's always, you know what? I should look that up. I'll do that in the preview if we'll have a preview. I mean, we will have a preview, but I'll look that up when the preview is coming. But Karl Anthony Towns is always on the Pacers. Mikal Bridges, not really. OG's pretty good against the Pacers. I think OG's a good player and a matchup problem for Pascal at times. Brunson, I mean, Aaron Neesmith did really well on him last year when they made that switch. But before we get into that, I just wanted to talk about what does the postseason look like so far individually. So Pascal Siakam leads the team in points per game. So this is over 10 games played, some of them 9. So Mathurin 9 because he missed the one game against the Bucks, and then Shepard had 8. So these are over 10 games for everybody else. So in 10 games, Pascal's averaged 18.8 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 0.9 steals, 0.3 blocks. Assist to turnover ratio is 2.6. Halliburton, 17.5 points per game, 5.5 rebound. He's been really good rebounding the basketball and defensively. That's the other thing I didn't really mention. He was so good once again defensively. He made a couple he had a good block. He made a couple of deflections and caused a lot of problems defensively with his length. Like deflected the ball, knocked the ball out of bounds. He was just a nuisance on the defensive end. And that is so much different than what he used to be. Like he was an awful defender. Now he's good. Like he's a good defender now. And I'm not saying like he's going to shut you down, but when it comes to crunch time, I mean he goes up in that level too, where it's like he becomes a good defender for 12 minutes. It's so important that he does what he does now defensively. He just causes problems. 9.3 assist, 0.9 blocks. He is second, and if you don't count James Johnson, he is second in blocks per game. I mean, Turner obviously is the only one that's got more. But yeah, Tyrese Halliburton second in blocks on the team. Turnovers 2.1. His assist to turnover ratio 4.4. And I actually feel like he's not been at his best yet with at least not turning the ball. Like you know what's scary? Tyrese Halliburton actually could be better. I mean, maybe not game 5, but like over the last couple of games before game 5, Tyrese Halliburton has a whole different level to him. Like I don't think he's played that as well. So yeah, that's dangerous. That's scary for the rest of the league. Miles Turner, 16.5 points per game. This is huge. 6 rebounds per game. That's a lot for Miles. That's good. Yeah, that's good. It's not like, great. Some of these bigs average about 10. But 6 for Miles, that's good. 2.5 blocks per game. Nembhard, 14.6 per game. 3.4 rebounds per game. 6 assists. He's been great as a secondary ball handler. 1.4 steals per game. And he's a 3.5 turnover to assist. So he's been really good too. Nesmith has been excellent. 14.6 points a game also. He's rebounded the ball extremely well. 6.5 for Aaron Nesmith in 10 games. 2.3 assist to turnover. Benedict Mathurin, 10.9 points per game. 2.2 rebounds. He actually, I think, could be better at rebounding the basketball because he's been a good help when he's focused on getting rebounds. TJ McConnell, 3.2 rebounds per game. That's crazy. 8.6 points per game. His assist, 4.4. And his assist to turnover ratio, 3.1. Obi Toppin, 8.5 points per game, which I don't think Obi really had that good of a series except for the one game where he scored 20 when Pascal got in early foul trouble. But Toppin has a whole different level that he's not gotten to yet. So there's a lot to look forward to with this Pacer team. Ben Shepard is hitting shots again, which is great. Like now I don't feel like he's going to miss every shot he takes. Now I'm like, all right, he's going to hit 1 of 3 or 1 of 2. Like he's going to hit a 3. He's going to hit a big one because he's done that a couple times now. So he's kind of back to where he was. He hasn't been as good defensively, but I think that he struggles a little bit with the guys that are like Donovan Mitchell, a little bit fast and bigger. Whereas I think he actually I think will defend Jalen Brunson better than he can defend the guards from Milwaukee and Cleveland. Because Jalen's not as big. So he'll be crucial in the series coming up. But I mean, listen to that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Pacers have played 11. Well, Jarris Walker's in there. He didn't play that much. But 10 guys. Rick Carlisle has gone to that 10-guy rotation. And this time, it's like Like last postseason, I felt like he had to go to 8 and 9. This year, I do. I feel like the 10 people that I've played have had very positive moments. Obi Toppin, Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant had a 9-point third quarter. He went nuts. It was great. I love Thomas. 4 of 6, 9 points, 3 rebounds. He was big time. He had a big steal, had a big flush on a fast break that he dribbled down from half court. Looked like a freight train. Oh, what did Spiro Deeds called him, a runaway freight train? It was fun. Like, he was really good in this game. He was a big difference maker in this game. But I mean, when you can run 10 guys in a postseason game when other teams are barely running 7, maybe 8, like, you're just going to wear teams down. It's just it's inevitable. And I think that's what the Pacers can do. I mean, the Pacers are a problem because they can guard you 94 feet for the whole game with everybody, because once one guy gets tired, he's out. Next guy up. Then he gets tired. Next guy up. So the versatility of the lineups and the rotations, and I mean, there's 7 to 8 different lineups that you could see. Like, it's unbelievable. Because usually when you see that, and there are some lineups that are not as good, right? I think you really struggle sometimes when the TJ McConnell Nimhard randomly make appearances together, or TJ Aaron Nesmith, Ben Shepherd kind of lineup like that. That can struggle, but if you got Ben in there and TJ in there, like they're not really big explosive. TJ can be, but like Ben Shepherd's not going to explode for 15. So, he's a good defender. Like, he gives you an extra body to run at somebody for, what did he play? 11 minutes, I think, 12 minutes. He's a good body to throw at people for 12 minutes. He'll get you 3 or 4 points, 6 points sometimes. But, some of those lineups do struggle. But the fact that you can run that many lineups out there and feel confident that they're not going to blow up is it's such an advantage. It's an incredible advantage. All right, so looking forward, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this series. It's the Boston and New York series. Like I said, Jason Tatum, right Achilles tear, out for the year and probably all of next year too, which is a huge loss. But that opens up the East. Like, the Eastern Conference has never been more wide open. Like, the Pacers legitimately, if they keep their team together and make some additions, like, they could contend for a title for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Like, their window is now. Yeah. So I'm going to pull up this series. Looking at this series, their offenses haven't been really that good. And the Knicks defense isn't good. Like, Boston defends pretty well, but New York, not really. Like, New York's not really that good of a defensive team. They're all right. Like, Mikal Bridges is a good defender, and Josh Hart and OG. But Towns and Brunson are brutal defenders. So there's a lot of weaknesses you can attack at the Knicks. And then with the way that the Celtics are banged up with Holiday and Jaylen Brown not being 100% healthy, and then Porzingis with whatever that illness, that's awful, whatever he's going through. And then you have this Jason Tatum injury now, and then whatever other injuries are on these guys that you don't know about. Like, the Celtics look banged up, like, big time. Now, they have a really great record without Jason Tatum, and they might be able to force a game 7. Like, I really do think they could, because the Knicks have, I mean, you go back to the series, and we'll preview them when we get to this. We'll preview the Celtics in more depth and the Knicks in more depth. But if you look at these two teams, the Celtics handle the Magic because the Magic aren't good. They can't score on anybody. The Knicks, honestly, if things go the right way, the Pistons could have beat the Knicks in that series. Like, you had that really bad foul at the end of that one game. The Pistons, I believe, in all their home games, led in the fourth quarter. So, and they I can't remember exactly, but I think they beat them in the Garden once, or were very close to beating them in the Garden. Had a lead in both those games, game 1 and 2, maybe. But I mean, they played them really well. The Pistons, and the Pistons are like the little brother version of the Pacers. Like I feel like the Pacers and Pistons. I mean, the Pacers are a little less defensively inclined than the Pistons. The Pistons have better defenders, but I do feel like there's some similarities there where like, or there's even the comparison of like the Pacers are better than they're a better version than that Pistons team. Obviously, they're a much better team than the Pistons right now. So you're going to go up against them, and then this Celtics team has not been very good. They've kind of just gone off of the talent that's been left over. They've basically shot themselves out of games. The Tatum injury, as although it's awful, I mean it might help them a little bit actually. That the fact that Jaylen Brown's the one now they're relying on, and he's not really that get up 25, 30 shots. Like Jaylen Brown's he's gonna get more shots in the flow of the offense than Jason Tatum will. Like Jason, they were gonna lose. So in what was that, game 5? No, game 4. Yeah, game 4, when Tatum went down, they were going to lose that game. Like when he went down, they were losing that game. Like the momentum was shifting and he was taking, I mean, I think they were down 5 or 6 and then he turned it over and that's when he got hurt. But like they were on their way to not winning that game with Jason Tatum because he had a really good game, but there's times where he just shoots you out of a game because he just goes ISO and he takes a lot of shots, like deep shots. It's like, man, you got to post somebody up. But that's a big loss for them. I'm not saying that Celtics are better without him. I'm just saying that the Celtics have a good record with Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's all I'm saying. They play well when it's just Jaylen. So I don't think that it's going to be an easy out. I do think there is a possibility that the Celtics could win game 6. Now, game 7 would be a toss-up, but I think that the Celtics have enough fight left in them. Like they're champions. Like they're not just going to roll over. And the Knicks, man, I don't know. Like I think they're a good matchup against the Pacers because the Pacers will struggle with Karl Anthony Towns some. And I think OG and Mikal are big enough to cause some problems. So their length will be a little bit of an issue, but then they also can be exposed with Brunson and Towns, which I think the Pacers will do that a lot, where they'll try to get Brunson and Towns running in actions together because they'll have to guard Miles with Karl. Like I don't see OG guarding Miles. And even if they do, Pascal would own Karl. Like Karl Anthony Towns is going to be an issue defensively trying to guard the Pacers. And Brunson can't defend Tyrese. So maybe Josh Hart defends Tyrese. But even then you got Josh Hart trying to guard Miles or Pascal. So it's going to be a matchup nightmare for the Knicks, I think. Whereas I think the Pacers will struggle some with the matchup too because Mikal Bridges is a little bit bigger. OG is going to be a little bit more of a difficult guard for Pascal because OG can hit outside shots and he's a little quicker, I think, than Pascal. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the Knicks still win this series. It's 3-2. I still think they win it. They have to go to the Garden. If I had to predict, if I was a betting man, I actually think that the Celtics will win game 6 in the Garden. I think it'll be game 7 that the Knicks will win. Which is weird to think that because the Knicks are having to go back to Boston, but for some reason, I just feel like the game 7s are usually toss-ups. Typically, don't really matter home court, but we'll see. In that series, Celtics averaging 110 points per game. The Knicks 103. The Celtics have outscored the Knicks in that series. Like that's how bad. Like there's been a lot of times where the Knicks offense just hasn't been good, and like watching the game, it's a lot of like Jalen Brunson or die. And Brunson has had games where he's just been real cold. So then they have to try to look for offense. And OG, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges do not create offense for themselves, really. OG, I would say, is probably the best one at doing so. The other two are so reliant upon other people creating their offense for them. And then Karl Anthony Towns, of course. But yeah, they've struggled, I think, like offensively. And then their bench will give you basically nothing besides McBride. So 45.4 rebounds per game for the Celtics, 44.2 for the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson's a big reason why they rebound because the others do not rebound very well. Josh Hart's a good rebounding guard, though. This one is the one that's stark. Like this will tell you how much they rely on these primary ball handlers, 20 assists per game for the Celtics, 19 assists per game for the Knicks. That tells you that their point guard and their team rely heavily on ball dominant guards or forwards to dribble the ball into areas and score and create their own. Like Jalen Brunson, he's not a pass first guard by any stretch. He's a shoot first point guard or create first point guard, ISO point guard. So if the Pacers can defend him well and not get into his baiting of fouls, like that's the one thing I'm really concerned about with the Pacers is because Neesmith has a hard time sometimes with guys that try to bait him. He was better against Brunson last year than Nembhard, but Nembhard's grown too. I feel like Nembhard might initially get that assignment to see how he does. But once it starts to go south, they'll switch over. They'll have Neesmith guard him, and Nembhard will go guard Josh Hart. Because Josh Hart's the only thing he's going to beat you really with is wide open threes. And he does run the floor really well in transition and finishes really well. But like Josh Hart's not going to beat you offensively. He's going to get rebounds offensive. Like that's annoying when he gets those offensive rebounds. So Nembhard or Neesmith are going to have to box him out. But then again, do you put? No, I guess you would. I guess that wouldn't be it. I guess you'd probably put Neesmith on Mikal Bridges then, because Mikal Bridges is big. I mean, maybe you put. I don't know. I don't think you put Tyrese on Mikal Bridges. That'll be another issue. Like Tyrese, who does he guard? I mean, you know what? Honestly, if I had to choose, I'd put him on Josh Hart because at least Josh Hart's not going to like. I don't think he's going to beat you off a dribble. You just got to worry about him shooting. So yeah, I changed that up. I think if that happens, if Neesmith has to guard Brunson, though, I think that's when Nembhard goes to. I don't think Nembhard can guard Bridges. But I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Those are weird matchups now that I think about it. But I think it'll still be the Knicks. I think you'll get. They kept saying it, the Knicks versus the Hicks, like they did in the '90s with Reggie and them. But yeah, go watch that Winning Time with Reggie Miller. Go watch that before if we do draw the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. But again, that'll be on May 21st, so we have to wait until Wednesday. A lot of people going, oh man, that's a long time. The Pacers will be off a week. But the Pacers have been off twice this season for like a week almost. I think the Paris one was like 6 days when they came back from Paris. And then in the in-season tournament, they had a really long break too. And I think both times they came out and were really good. So I don't think the break will really bother the Pacers too much. If anything, it'll be the shooting. But I don't know. I feel really confident that this team does what they need to do to prepare, and that rest doesn't really get to them. I think it actually hurts older guys some. I don't know why, but I feel like the older guys have a harder time adjusting to that. Like I could see Pascal struggling to come out of that shooting wise. Maybe Miles, but like usually younger guys are okay with breaks. Like, and plus the Pacers, I think, do a really good job. I think they do a lot of like hardcore scrimmaging during these longer type of breaks. Like I imagine once Friday, Saturday roll around, they'll start to get into some more intense work. But yeah, they're off until next Wednesday, May 21st. Oh, I accidentally have it. Okay, I didn't change the graphic on here on YouTube. So if you're looking at YouTube, it is not the 19th. It cannot move to the 19th anymore. I forgot to take that off. It's May 21st. The Pacers will definitely 100% start the Eastern Conference Finals on May 21st at 8 p.m. on TNT. Sorry, I meant to take that 19th off, but it's too late now. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. How impressed were you with this Pacers win over the Cavs? What does it mean going forward? Who do you want in the Eastern Conference Finals? Who do you think we can beat? What do you think the matchups are if we play against the Knicks? What do you think the matchups are if we play against the Celtics? What do those man-to-man matchups look like? What do you think are the keys to that series? Give me some of your thoughts on what you expect from a Pacers Knicks or a Pacers Celtics Eastern Conference Finals series. What are you looking forward to? Thank you for listening. If you've listened this far or watched this far, again, we are over on YouTube, the Pacers Fever Show. We are anywhere you can find your podcast, the Pacer Fever Show on Spotify, Apple. Make sure to go ahead and rate and give it 5 stars. over on podcast places where you get your podcasts like Spotify and Apple. It helps people find us. Comment, like, and subscribe over on YouTube. Again, that helps people find us too. We love to try to expand this Pacers community. If you would like to join this show as a co-host, I am always looking for somebody to join me full-time, part-time, whatever it might be, per game. I don't care. It's always nice to have somebody else to talk to during these podcasts. And it lets me get my breaks and my thoughts together, because sometimes it's hard to do a one-person show because you start to stumble on words, or your mouth gets dry because you talk too much, or your voice starts to go a little bit more because you're talking for an hour straight. But yeah, thank you for listening. We're over on socials. I tweet during the games. We are probably not going to be able to record this weekend, so be expecting that preview to come for the Eastern Conference Finals. Expect that preview to start showing up on your feeds probably around Monday or definitely Tuesday morning, because I'm going to try to record when I get back, to be able to record. I should have time on Monday when I get back to record that day, but we've got family and stuff in town, and I'm not going to be able to record those days. So I have to wait until Monday probably to record. So I'll try to record Monday night, so that way you can listen to it on Tuesday for your commute, and then Wednesday before the game as well. But I'm looking forward to it. Pacers Eastern Conference Finals, May 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern time on TNT. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. This is the first time, again, that I feel like the Pacers could reach the NBA Finals. Let me know in the comments or wherever you might find me on socials. Do you believe that the Pacers are finally going to make an NBA Finals the first time since 2000? And can the Pacers, these Indiana Pacers, win their first NBA title in NBA history? I don't know. We'll see. But again, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.